Yo, what's going on? I'm Marcus. Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Welcome back to the channel, The Debt Free Dad. Y'all already know what's going on. Hey, here, financial takes, financial topics, current events, letting y'all know what we got going on in our financial freedom journey as we are looking to become first generation millionaires. Now, hey, this is a reaction video to something I saw that I thought was interesting. And honestly, I really wanted to kind of get people take on this subject. Now, I was going to throw a whole poll out there to do a poll, but sometimes it's better to get commentary through the comments and through the live. So I thought that was the best way to do it. So in today's video, I know y'all always ask when y'all see this video, what's the money topic behind this? What the hell is going on? What's the money topic? Where is this finance related? So, hey, we're talking about side hustles. You already saw the thumbnail. We already talking. We clearly talking about OnlyFans, so we're talking side hustles. All side hustles are not created equally. You got side hustles that let you work from the crib, side hustles where you got to go places. We got side hustles that pay you a lot of money. We got side hustles that don't pay you any damn thing. So we are going to talk about OnlyFans. I feel fairly confident that everybody knows what OnlyFans is. If you aren't aware of what OnlyFans is, it's like a subscription-based service. I don't think it was created around sexual content, but that's where they make their money. OnlyFans, people go on there, they pay X amount of money, and they get exclusive access to whoever it is that they're following, it is that they're subscribed to, that they're paying a monthly subscription for. It doesn't have to be anything sexual. It could be, for example, your favorite celebrity just giving you an in-depth look in their life. But where have people maximized OnlyFans during the pandemic? OnlyFans took off. This company started making all these damn profits, and they started making profits because people were selling sex, essentially. So we're going to talk about a teacher who got terminated from her job for starting OnlyFans. I don't know. I understand various sides of it, but I do have my opinions. Before I dive in, hey, I always got to throw out the disclaimer: licensed attorney, but not your attorney. So this isn't legal or financial advice. I'm just letting y'all know what we got going on in the household of the debt-free dad. Hey, what's going on, sis? How are you? Good morning to you. She probably making a shitload of money too. Yeah, OnlyFans thrive because guys are idiots. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. Before I even delve into the story, OnlyFans is thriving because guys are idiots. Now, I'm sure there are women out there who pay for OnlyFans subscriptions too. I'm probably 100% positive women pay for OnlyFans subscriptions, but I would like to know a breakdown. I actually tried to find it through open source and couldn't. I would like to know how much of OnlyFans revenue is generated from subscription-based services to content creators who post sexual stuff related to guys. I only want to know what the men are paying because I already know they aren't guys. This is I go live on TikTok, right? And I like to use TikTok as an experimental thing, like for something I think I want to talk about on the show, I may go live on TikTok and just freestyle to check the pulse. Now, the great thing about TikTok, when you go live on TikTok, they'll show you before you go live. You have 500 followers, you have 1,000 followers on. So sometimes, your boy can't sleep. I'm up late at night. And I looked and I was like, wow, why are so many of my followers on at like 1 a.m? So I said, you know what? I'm going to go live. And I click live. And literally in the first minute, I probably had 300 people in my live all tuned in. I'm amped up. Now I'm talking about whatever the hell I want to talk about, but there's always some financial, economic, maybe some fraud, but there's always something, some legal, there's always something kind of in that big old ball of various topics piled up in there. Now, once I go on live late night, I got like 200 people watching the live. In the first minute, maybe 100 leave. Then a minute and a half later, maybe 75 leave. By the time 3 minutes go by, I got about 4 people watching the live. And I was like, man, what the hell is going on? The content is the same. What's the problem? And then it hit me. I actually just sat there one night and I said, I'm going to scroll through and see what people are doing on their live and how they're getting these views and what's keeping people enticed. As I scroll through the live, I picked up on a trend. And the first trend I noticed that your live stands a better chance of being successful. I guess I don't know if it's a thing, but your live stands a better chance of being successful if you're a female. If here's the prime example, okay? And hey, I don't want to make this a gender thing, but once my audience saw that I wasn't some thick sister, like cooking in the kitchen with some little shorts on, they was all gone. They was like, screw this finance content. And nobody wanted to hear it. And so it was one sister, and I think I told this story before. She was literally wearing shorts, nothing crazy either. She just had shorts on, and she was sitting crisscross applesauce, dressed just shorts on, nothing provocative, sitting like she was in a preschool circle time, Indian style, and she was doing a crossword puzzle. She wasn't saying shit. She wasn't like making it funny or like break dancing while she was doing a crossword puzzle. She was just sitting there, sitting down quietly doing a crossword puzzle, and her screen was lit up. And I'll say 90% of the people in there were men, and probably 100% of the comment were, "Hey, beautiful, you look amazing." I mean, her screens were just lit up with donation, 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 and that was on TikTok. So I know OnlyFans is a vehicle where people can make a shitload of money, and I'm pretty positive that guys simping, I ain't gonna say simping, but I'm pretty positive that men are fueling the economic push for the OnlyFans explosion and content creators making a lot of money. That's just kind of, my personal thoughts based on my experience. I'm gonna do a crossword puzzle and some basketball shorts with a wife beater on. They gonna be like, "Man, what you doing, bro?" Ain't nobody gonna watch that. But hey, that's just my theory. I haven't done a control group or a real test sample, but I have my speculations and my suspicions about it. So we're gonna dive into this story and give a little bit of the background. Let me go ahead and pull up the video. No, not the video. Let me go ahead and pull up the article. I got to be real cautious with putting videos up on live because it'll go through real smooth. And then all of a sudden, the YouTube people will be like, "You cannot use this video anymore." So, teacher who joined OnlyFans to support her family was fired. All right. This is actually a sad story because we already know that teachers are among the most overworked, undervalued, underpaid professions. I'm not going to say in the world, definitely in America. I think some countries that I've been to actually value their teachers way more than we do here. But generally, teacher is a profession where you're going to have to pay money out of your pocket. I mean, how we actually do like drives to help the teacher get the supplies for their classes because teachers is like a statistic. They end up spending something like $4,200 a year out of their own money to get supplies for their classrooms. And that's just stupid as hell. So we already know teachers are underpaid. So let's take a look. A single mom who set up an OnlyFans account to supplement her income was fired from her teaching job earlier this year after her employer found out about the account. So now we already know that, hey, they found out about the account. Somebody, nah, man, I ain't got no OnlyFans subscriptions yet. I haven't seen anything that tickle my fancies. I got a unique set of proclivities. So yeah, it don't fall in the teacher MILF category, even though hey, there's nothing wrong with MILFs. But that's not my. If I find something that pique my fancy, you'll be the first person to know. But like, dog, you got to get on this OnlyFans. All right, so again, she was fired after they learned about her account soon after, and possibly related. A blogger posted photos from her OnlyFans account. Blah, blah, blah. We can skip that. Okay. For about 6 years, Sarah Jury worked full-time as a teacher in South Bend, Indiana, as part of the Department of Defense Star-Based Educational Program. I'm a vet. She worked for DOD. She provided education in the STEM arena, science, technology, and math for the youth of America's future. Okay. Which introduces grade 5 students to science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM, But a single mother of twins says she was unable to support her family on a modest salary of $55,000 per year, especially as the cost of living continues to rise across the United States. Jury said her rent cost nearly half of her income, and her employer didn't offer health care, which is expensive as hell if you got to pay for it on your own. That was another out of pocket expense, the jury told Vice News, plus car insurance and groceries and expenses for her kids. A friend told her that she earned $10,000 in a single month after launching an OnlyFans account, and Drury was intrigued. It felt to her like a viable way to make money and stop living paycheck to paycheck. Soon, she asked her friends to show her how to get a page started. So look at her taking an initiative to, not looking for government handouts. She's trying to find a way to boost and increase her own economic situation. So far, so good. I don't think I'm gonna find anything that I don't like about this story aside from the termination, but that's a whole nother story. Okay, her account went live in early June, and by the end of the June, she was fired from her job as a teacher. Jurie's termination letter, viewed by Vice News, states that she was let go for posting inappropriate photos in violation of several star-based policies without the consent of the executive director. The letter added that the photos pose a real and immediate risk of harm to the reputation or business dealings of the program. Jurie was shocked. Around the time Jurie set up her OnlyFans account, this is actually a really big point in this story. She said that she had a casual conversation with a colleague and their boss about side gigs that fall under sex work umbrella, including OnlyFans pages. Now, this says a lot about her boss, Creep Alerts. He's probably one of them guys who paying donations to see women in shorts do crossword puzzles on TikTok. My boss got really excited and said, "Yeah, you can start a page. You can make a lot of money. You can sell your panties on the page." This dude was a creep. I'm assuming it was a guy. I don't know yet. That's the father in the article. Jurie said, "In my mind, I was like, great. I'm not going to have any issues with work because my boss literally told me to sell my panties on OnlyFans." I'm just going to go out on a limb, and I'm assuming that this is a guy because I don't know. That sounds like something a creepy guy would say. Maybe a creepy woman would say it too. I don't know, but definitely a creepy guy. All right, Starbase. Essentially, her employer did not respond to a list of questions about Jurie's termination, including whether the program was aware of her exchange that she had with her boss. The executive director declined to comment in a follow-up phone call. Now, this is actually interesting because there's some information about the blogger who posted the pictures of her, which is kind of irrelevant to their story. But here is interesting. OnlyFans wasn't the first side hustle that Jurie tried. Over the years, she pursued all sorts of gigs, from working at a teeth whitening salon to private tutoring in order to supplement her income. Yet nothing paid enough to get her out of debt, and ultimately, she had to take a second loan out on her car to cover some credit card debt. So the flexibility of OnlyFans, along with the earning potential, felt like she had a way out. And so again, this isn't the first story. We see a lot of people who get fired all the time. If we go through this article, is a 22-year-old who was fired from her nursing job after a colleague blew the whistle. How the hell did the colleague know? Either the colleague told or the colleague was on OnlyFans. One of the two. Another employee was fired from also in Indiana, Honda dealership, after managers found out that coworkers were watching her OnlyFans page. So this entire, OnlyFans thing where, people start OnlyFans to supplement their income. They actually lose job. She had to support her man. Teachers are important. Hey, man. Hey, you gotta. Hey, folks. So a couple of things. Just this fact that first and foremost, I mean, what more can you expect the employee to do is to route it up through the chain of command? I actually feel, and they didn't say anything. They said, "Oh, this job violated a couple of policies." The fact that they didn't expressly say the policies in the article or they didn't answer any calls leads me to believe that there was probably no real policy that this could fall under. The other thing is, I mean, this is just me from a legal standpoint. You're only obligated to inform your supervisor of such thing. Like if I get a job, a side job, and I'm starting to make income, I have an obligation to report that to my boss. It's my boss's obligation to route that up to the chain of command. So if the executive director didn't know, what the hell was she supposed to do? Call the executive director on her own and ask her? If it was anything outside of this, she skipped her boss and called the executive director. It'll be a big issue of why you didn't let me know, why you jumping the chain of command. So, I mean, me, just from a commonsensical standpoint of, just how general employment chain of command structures work, I think her only real obligation was to inform her supervisor, which she did. Now, we clearly know that supervisor was a creep supreme, because creep supreme was like, hey, let's go install an OnlyFans. But in addition to that, I think you can sell your drawers on this OnlyFans too and make a lot of money. This dude was first bid to buy those drawers off eBay. It's without a shadow of a doubt. This dude was like, I'm gonna go to her OnlyFans and I'm gonna anonymously throw my bid in contention to pick up those panty drawers, because he was clearly creepy. But she did what her due diligence was, reaching out to her boss. Her boss' job was to filter it up. If he never did anything like that, that's on him. That's not her. Now, before we talk about a little bit, and it's actually funny because there's an update after this article came out. I had to find out what, let's find out what the teacher is up to. But before we started, here's a story time. And I like to put these story times in the middle of the video because I don't want them to be too far at the beginning. Then everybody get the good story. But hey, trust me, when I saw all these articles about a year ago, maybe 2020, late 2020, and I saw all these people like, man, these OnlyFans things are blowing up. Y'all want to know what DFD did here? Hey, I'm all about capitalizing on something that can improve my economic situation and doesn't challenge or call into question my moral compass. So, hey, DFD, your boy, I went over. I was like, hey, Mrs. DFD, how you doing? I was like, I started out, I don't know, a lot of guys, this is how I do it. Anytime I want to butter my wife up with something, I have like an article and I'd be like, hey, check out this. Ain't this wild? Or I pull out my phone. I'd be like, hey, check this out. Look at this. Look at that. You see that? They fired their teacher because she made $15,000 a month for OnlyFans. That's crazy, right? They shouldn't have fired her. And I'm kind of looking, I'm kind of looking to, I'm kind of looking, hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining there. I'm kind of looking to, just get her feel, so I showed the wife a couple of articles. I'm like, hey, look at this. You see this? Wow. This former nurse quit her job and she made $15,000 a month on OnlyFans. That's wild, right? Yeah, they shouldn't have fired her. 15 stacks though. That's pretty good. And all she probably doing is selling some feet pics. So of course, after a couple of sessions of trying to butter Mrs. DFD up, I was like, hey, this OnlyFans thing is crazy. People paying for a subscription, but you don't even got to get real vulgar on there. You could just, sell some feet pics or something. Like, hey, you know what? It'd be wild if we started an OnlyFans page, right? and of course, she kind of like gave me the side eye, did pay me no attention. So, a little while later, I come up with this final article, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna go all in. I show this final article. Hey, check out this crazy article. Then I'm like, hey, what would you think if we came out with an OnlyFans page? Now, before you say no, because I know my wife, I know what she's gonna say no to before I even ask. I was like, before you say no, hear me out. Let me go ahead and lay out all the facts for you, okay? So I'm like, hey, you got all these different articles about these people who making $10,000, $5,000 a month, supplementing their income, right? Hey, debt-free dad, Mrs. DFD, financial freedom journey, first generation millionaires. So from an economic standpoint, I think it's fair to say that this could be a viable opportunity economically. Would you agree or disagree? I go into my cross-examination. I don't want to hear an opinion. I say, would you agree or disagree? Because I wanted to say, yeah, I agree or I disagree. So I'm trying to steer her in the line of questioning the cross-examination to the way that I want her to go, right? So after I get to that point, I just flat out asked. I was like, look, we should start an OnlyFans, right? It's dope because we're a married couple. We ain't got to do nothing too crazy because I know you may be a little uncomfortable. Me, hey, I ain't gonna be uncomfortable at all. That's my wife. I could care less. If someone wanted to pay a monthly subscription to see me rub lotion on Mrs. DFD's feet, hey, so be it, right? So be it, right? But my wife was shocked and appalled that I even brought it up. She was like, she looked at me like, how dare you? Like, no, like my wife akins OnlyFans to like as if I asked to be her pimp. Like, no, I'm not asking you to be my. I don't want to be a pimp. No, we're equals. Like, yay, we're equals. Like, I'm just saying that this is a viable thing. Hey, you can put a mask on. I had the whole gimmick and everything already thought of too. I had this. I had this whole process and I had the whole gimmick thought of. It was going to be like an attorney and like, I had the whole gimmick thought of. I was going to be like, hey, pardon me. Have you seen my legal briefs? I had all of this thought out. Needless to say that Mrs. Debt-Free Dad was not on board. She was actually shocked and chagrined. She was actually shocked and appalled that this was, even brought up. But, to that point, hey, people are making big bucks on OnlyFans. I actually took a look online just to be like, let's see how much money people are making from OnlyFans. Just look at the headline. OnlyFans stars make 270 times more than the average workers. We got a couple of $1 million in 6 minutes. I mean, like, the amount of earnings that people are paying to get subscriptions to the craziest things, some of them not even sexual. Like, I mean, I guess it's sexual for the viewer, but like, I don't know. Like, I wish somebody would want to buy my feet pictures. Let me know. Let's go and start the bid. 125, going once, going twice. But people are actually paying for these, crazy ass things. So, hey. There's nothing wrong with starting an OnlyFans page. Because I don't see the issue with it personally. Yeah, hey, y'all saw the thumbnail. Y'all saw the teacher. I could wrap my mind around if this teacher was like a high school teacher, but no, this teacher was in fifth grade. Those fifth graders aren't going to find her OnlyFans. The problem was the teachers and everybody else at the DoD school systems were enamored with her OnlyFans page, and yeah, that's my thing. That's also my line I plan on using for amateur night at the strip club, but that's a whole nother live for a whole nother story. But the students clearly aren't going to find out. Now, if this teacher was a high school teacher, I could start to rationalize it more, and I think that it would I could see where the argument was coming, because, like, I mean, if that was my 10th or 11th grade English teacher, and I heard through the grapevine she had an OnlyFans, I'm gonna use my grass cutting money because I want to see it, because that's just what students and high schoolers are probably going to do. But I don't know. I think she did the right thing by telling her boss. I think it was her boss's responsibility to run it up. I don't think that they had any real policy in place, because if they did, they would have cited it in that damn article. They would have said, it was in violation of this policy, and this policy. Now, I did look at Indiana DOD. It's pretty much an at-will type of employer. So what an at-will employer means is, and that's how it is in most jurisdictions. Most jurisdictions are at-will employee. That means that your boss can fire you just because. It doesn't have to be necessarily a reason. You work at the will of the employer, at the pleasure of the employer. The employer can fire you for anything, but they can't fire you for illegal reasons. So, hey, you know what? I just think it's in the best interest of the organization that we part ways. That is a legitimate reason to terminate somebody for at-will employee. But if they're at-will employee and you terminate them because they reported some wrongdoing, if you terminate them because of race, religion, all of those Title VII things, that's where the issues, can potentially come into play. And I know, because every job that I've ever had as an attorney, most jobs for attorneys are at will. You serve at the pleasure of a political appointee, a CEO. It's always at will. So, I'm kind of used to that, understanding that concept. Oh yeah, see, and I agree. If she was a high school teacher, it would be much more problematic. But a fifth grade teacher, and I mean, little Timmy. Now, little Timmy stumbled on Dad's computer. It could be more of a problem. Now, this is where I think the story gets interesting, and I think hey, I honestly don't think that she had anything in the wrong in this particular story. I think that she did everything the correct way or how she should have done it. I don't think her boss did everything. He should have filtered it up the chain. There's always something. Y'all hear that nonsense? He should have filtered it up the chain to get to the executive director so they can issue some type of decision. That was on him. Now, what do you all think happened once this story got out? Now, here is the time for the update. Now, once this story got out, let's take a look and see how this thing played out once this story developed. And I was really proud and happy for her. Okay. Former Indiana teacher Sarah Jury, aka Sarah Seals, was fired a few months ago from her teaching job when a local reporter outed her OnlyFans secret to her employer. Sarah at the time, please join my OnlyFans. I just got fired from teaching my job. I need all the support I can get. Tips and love support appreciated. The attention surrounding her story helped her subscribers jump from around 100 to 4,000, and it helped her take her OnlyFans in a new direction. Like, hey, if you're a content creator out there, I don't care, YouTube or TikTok, if you go from 100 to 4,000 in like a period of 2 weeks or a week, like that's crazy. Now, let's just put this into context. Let's say 100 people are paying $10 a month for her service. Now you have, think about it, you have 4,000 people paying $10 a month to see Sarah Jury's OnlyFans content. She good. She essentially replaced her income. And I'm not really sure. Let me see if I could find it. It is the first thing that pops out. What percentage of profits does? Wow, that's crazy. Only 20%, yo. DFD about to start an OnlyFans for real. Y'all see that? That's crazy. So, hey, in reading this story, her subscriber base went up from this article. So her subscribers base went up exponentially. She got a gang of subscribers, making $55,000 a year. Twins couldn't afford to pay her expenses, credit card debt. Her company didn't pay health insurance, so you got health insurance for two kids. So she's in financial distress. She creates this OnlyFans. She gets the okay from her perverted, I'm not gonna say perverted, from her creepy boss, who also says you can sell your underwear on OnlyFans and makes money. Now, again, this story gets out. She gets terminated from her job, even though I think that was really BS. I don't think they really had a policy in place, even though they said they did, they didn't show it. But Indiana is at will. You can get fired for anything as long as it's not something that's illegal. Now, her OnlyFans goes from 100 to 4,000 subscribers once this story gets out, right? Now, again, let's just think about it. 100 people paying $10 a month to OnlyFans for your OnlyFans subscription. Now she goes to 4,000 people paying $10 a month. And I'm just assuming she's charging $10 a month. She may be charging $20 a month. So, but let's just say $10, $9.99. That's a good price point. $9.99. You got 4,000 people paying you $10 a month, and OnlyFans only takes 20%. That's crazy. Like YouTube takes like what, 55, 60, something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. So I mean, hey, salute to her, because she's essentially replaced her income for something she could do from her house, and I think that's a really big deal. Thanks for tuning in, but I don't know. I find that is crazy. She probably got way more subscribers than that now because of all the media coverage and everything like that. So that's just kind of. I thought it would be that high, but I don't know. When I looked it up, it said they only take 20%. That can't be right. That 20%, that can't be right. That can't be right. Now, That can't be right. Let me see. Damn, I should have. 20% can't be right. If it's 20%, I'm about to remake all of my YouTube videos and some basketball shorts with baby oil rubbed on my chest and start an OnlyFans and get it cracking. If they only take if they only take it 20%, that's insane. So let's finish the follow up. And this is how, again, it goes back to how guys are creepy in some regard. But hey, as far as side hustles go, I think she found her particular niche. So her OnlyFans went from 100 to 4,000. It helped take her OnlyFans in a new direction. Hey, 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 y'all see hey, women, I respect you all, but I can see why all of the faculty and the parents were probably upset because, like, look at her, like, I mean, come on now, let's just be realistic. She is a very attractive woman. My fifth grade teachers didn't look like this, but very attractive woman. So I can understand why people would be upset, and I can understand why she is going to make a lot of money. During the recent appearance on the podcast, she says, Sarah says she went from hoping to make a little extra spending money to hopes of becoming a millionaire. And she living the dream. She went from a teacher who was underpaid, in debt, to now she's about to become a millionaire. Probably a first generation millionaire, but definitely become a millionaire. Hey, she not hurting nobody. She not breaking the law. Salute to her for becoming a millionaire or being on the verge of doing that. Now, here you go. She might get there thanks to her growing fan base of subscribers with teacher fantasies. Now, this is, I thought, hilarious. I thought when I started OnlyFans, I was going to be in the MILF niche. But then when the teacher stuff popped up, I was like, oh my God, the teacher fantasy is a real thing. So she's capitalizing on being a teacher. She probably got apples on her desk and books and a chalkboard behind her. I mean, it's genius. The content that she's making is evergreen. Those videos that she's making are going to be up there for people to watch years and years down the road. Even when she's 60 years old, those videos she made, right now are still going to be up there to be monetized. So it's definitely a big deal. Being a former teacher in the age of technology, a single woman, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I mean, you can see from her Instagram, hey, I think that this woman was smart. She capitalized. And somewhere in this article, apparently she charges people because when she was talking about the private part pics that she received, I mean, it happens. Guys been sending those things since the internet was created, when there was dial-up. She gives report cards grading these private part pictures that she gets, and she charges guys for these report cards. I mean, I think this is absolutely genius. It is OnlyFans, don't get me wrong. I know, hey, I'm not a I'm not a judging person, but hey, only 20%, that's better than YouTube. Like I said, I think that's a hell of a deal. Oh man, minimum subscription. So even if she getting $10 a month from 4,000 people, oh my goodness, she is making a killing. I'm about to do some research. I'm gonna go. It was the first two paragraphs. Report cards for their junk. Like, yeah, and those guys who getting those report cards, they're probably getting D's and F's, but they don't care. They just got this fantasy and they're willing to pay for a subscription and pay for this report card. So I think this is an outstanding use of monetizing content. And it doesn't have to be, because I'm not sure what OnlyFans rules are. I know at some point OnlyFans said we are going to get out of the smut game. We don't want people to put the X-rated content and all that stuff on here. And that lasted about a week, because I'm sure probably 80% of their profits come from people who are in the smut game. Now, there's levels to this smut game stuff. If, like, I personally don't think it's a problem no matter what the hell you put on there, as long as that's what you want to do. But if you putting pictures of you in a bathing suit up there, pictures of your feet in sand, and people want to pay you money to do that, hey, more power to you. Now, hey, let's talk about this. If you were in that situation, right? You're in that situation overworked, underpaid, you got debt, you got kids, you can struggle to get healthcare insurance. Would you actually start an OnlyFans, or is starting an OnlyFans? And we're not going to say she put triple X content up. Let's just say, she's in bathing suits and small shorts. Just something relatively mild for the most part when you're talking about a scale of, sexually related content. Would you start an OnlyFans? Because in the article it said that she tried working at a call center, a teeth whitening place. She tried all of these other things, and none of these other vehicles gave her the opportunity to. Now she's on the verge of like, hey, I could become a millionaire if I keep doing this shit. Would you actually do an OnlyFans, or is OnlyFans thing? Are you along the lines of the wife of Mrs. DFD, where OnlyFans is something that you just can't wrap your mind around doing? For me, hey, I think all side hustles are relatively created equal. The whole point of a side hustle, what is the point of a side hustle? It's two things that a side hustle should do. And I talked about this before. I've seen video where people talk about their side hustles, and they talk about how hard of a work and how their side hustle, they work harder and is more stressful than their actual regular full-time job. That is not a side hustle. Anything with the word side beside it, I don't care if it's a side hustle, a side kick, a side piece. If the word side is beside it, the whole point of it is it's supposed to be less stressful than your main. Your sidekick isn't supposed to stress you out because they take away some of the burden. Presumably, I'm thinking that's the role of what a side piece should do. If you got a side piece and every time you see her, she give you a headache or he give you a headache, you need to move on and find another one. And I think side hustles are the same way. Your side hustle shouldn't be something that stresses you out. It's something that's done on the side where you can put minimal effort in, not as much effort as you're putting into your full-time job, but you are getting some reward. So, hey, side hustle rule number one: your side hustle should not take as much effort and cause as much stress and use as much brain power as your full-time job. Point number two: your side hustle should be something that allows you to make progress. If you have a side hustle, and your side hustle with your full-time job, you're working 50, 60 hours a week, but you still don't have enough to pay your bills, that means, hey, either you need a budget, either you spending too damn much, or your side hustle, you need to find a side hustle that can increase your income more than this one. Because I don't see the point. Like, this is just me. And I've worked at UPS. They used to call it underpaid slaves. I worked at UPS as a side hustle, as a practicing attorney. I worked at a call center. I would get off of court from a jury trial and go sit in the call center. So I understand and I get it. But if I had a side hustle and I'm busting my ass working 60 hours a week, an extra 20 hours on my side hustle, and I still don't have enough money to do all the things I need to do and pay all my bills, something's wrong and I need to abort that mission. So, for purposes of side hustles, it cannot be as stressful as your primary job. It has to be easy going. You shouldn't work as hard, and you should be making some type of income that's going to allow you to make progress in your situation. So, hey, this teacher wasn't making progress with the side hustles. Now she's on the verge of becoming a millionaire. So I don't know about y'all. Hey, I don't judge side hustles. I look at it generally the same. If someone told me I got a side hustle with an OnlyFans page and I got a side hustle at UPS, like, honestly, I'm probably gonna look at the person at UPS like, man, you need to get a side hustle on OnlyFans, dog. I worked at UPS for that shit is hard. When it's cold out there and it's hot, you in the back of that truck lifting them boxes, man, don't nobody want to do that. That's a hard ass side hustle. So I think that she met the side hustle category. It was something that was needed. She knew she wanted to dig out of her financial mess. She got kids she needed to take care of. It's working out for her. She on the verge of becoming a millionaire. I guarantee you doing an OnlyFans page is less stressful than being a teacher. Because I couldn't be a teacher, especially with elementary school kids. Oh, nah. I coached my son's flag football team when he was in elementary school. And I was like, nope, won't be doing this shit next year. So I guarantee you it is much harder, much more difficult work. Oh man, I never heard of that story. Look, Yeah, I've actually never heard of that story. Wow, her brilliant idea was to sell photos to her stalkers to keep him at bay. That's an interesting thing because I have a few questions when I see that. Now I gotta look at that joint. But one, did it effectively keep him at bay, and was he consistently paying? How much he? It's some questions. Yeah, hey, shoot me the link to that story on IG or on the email at officialdebtfreedad@gmail.com. I actually need to check that out. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, UPS is a real job. Like if I got two people and hey, not a financial advisor, but it's two people who are in the same financial districts, and one says, two people, let's say this teacher had a twin. Her and her twin sister are in the exact same situation, and one starts an OnlyFans and one go works at a call center. Off the cuff, I'm like, hey, you might want to leave that call center, leave UPS, because she about to blow up over here. This has much higher earning potential and is less work. It's going to require less amount of time. You could literally film your OnlyFans while you are making content for something else. You could literally just cook in an outfit and record yourself cooking the kids dinner, and boom, you got content for a week. Like it's so genius, and it's starting to really get me upset because Mrs. DFD didn't support that economic adventure, that economic venture that I wanted to go on with the OnlyFans. That's a crazy story. I'm gonna check that out. I'm definitely gonna check that out. Yo, this story is wild just from the comments. Salute the dad for shooting. He broke in with a shotgun. Oh man. Yeah, yeah. I need to look at that story because that story is crazy as hell. Um, that story is crazy as hell. And as as much as that makes sense to capitalize off it economically, my wife is watching the Jeffrey Dahmer, not the documentary, but the show. And I don't like watching shit like that because I represented people who did some atrocious things. I'm talking about murdered 4-year-olds with bones found underneath the stairs to the home. So I represented some people who done some crazy ass stuff in my day. So I don't really like to watch the made for TV movie. I would watch a documentary. And so I was telling her about this guy I represented, Bone Guy, and I was like, he was the most polite person that you will ever meet. He was so cordial when he would leave the courtroom. The judge was just like, oh, like so. He had such a great disposition. But if you study, mental health, if you study psychology, if you study behavior of sociopaths, they generally have good dispositions. Not all the time, but a lot of times they do because they have to have a vehicle to be able to lure in victims. And so, my initial thought just reading your comment is it's great to capitalize on it, but if someone is stalking you, it's a presumption that they have some type of fetish for you. And I'm going to go ahead and say that 99.9% of that time, if it's a stalker, that fetish is probably one of a sexual nature. So to sell that person photos is only like throwing fuel on the fire of that obsession, and it's going to make them more likely because those type of things I've seen in my practice and I had to take classes on learning the minds of criminals and sociopaths. It's something how to tell read a person's body cues. I had to take classes hours, thousands of hours of these courses, and doing something like that is essentially throwing fuel on the damn fire. So I think that is definitely a crazy ass story that I would probably have to definitely look into. See, I know that story sounds crazy as hell. I'm definitely going to check that out. It's in Florida. It's in Florida. Oh my goodness. I knew it was in Florida, Texas. Shout out to Florida, Texas. Hey, I love y'all, but anytime there's some crazy ass story going on, I'm leaning to y'all first. But yeah, I'm gonna look that up. That might be something to do a reaction to. I never fucking heard of that. Damn, that's crazy. And I look at crazy stories like that, so it normally pop up. It's funny that it just popped up. What have you been searching in your algorithm that crazy ass story popped up? Probably the same shit that I that I've been searching. I'm no judge, sister, no judgment, sister. I'm just picking with you. But yeah, I think that's it. Bottom line, the moral of this story is: all side hustles in the eyes of your employer aren't created equal. In the eyes of DFD, in the eyes of getting out of debt, if it's a legal side hustle, if you're not out there trapping or hurting people, all side hustles are created equal. The sooner you can, whatever you're comfortable with to get out of your financial position, you're a grown ass adult. If you choose to do that, salute to you. I think that's a interesting approach to take, but that's how her story played out. So it's going to be interesting, but I think we're going to see this trend of people starting OnlyFans and getting fired is not going to stop. And one of the reasons that it's not going to stop is I lived in a lot of places, a lot of countries, and the United States is one of the most fake. They're kind of fake uppity, like, oh, we can't do that because this ruins the moral compass. But behind closed doors, all sorts of people doing all sorts of shit. So like overseas and Germany and Poland and places like that, people don't have this like bougie attitude when it comes to things related to sexual content and sexual behavior. You know what I mean? They're cognizant of rules and rights, but when it comes to sexual behaviors, they're really more acceptable and tolerant of a lot of things. In the US, we have a culture where we tend to be not tolerant because we want to ride our moral compass in public, but behind closed doors, we got all sorts of subscriptions to all sorts of crazy shit, all sorts of feet and watermelon, rubbing them in, rubbing your feet in watermelon juice and putting them on top of a plate in a dinner table on a saucer and taking pictures of them. People looking at all sorts of crazy shit. So, at the end of the day, all side hustles that are legal and legit and a decision of a grown ass adult are equal in my eyes. Hey, that's it. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and jumping in on the comments on this one. And hey, shout out to you, Aaron. Thanks for the idea because that story crazy as hell. I'm about to look that shit up right now. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Have a good one. Peace.